Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Small Project Zomboid, playing as Colonel Kurtz. Continuing our mission of exploration, quintessentially, down the main highway. I think this is the interstate, technically, right? Should connect Knox County to other states, I suppose, hence the name. And yeah, today we are continuing down this path. I'm gonna need the katana, obviously, but I'm gonna need it. Attach this to the back. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Okay. Oh dear. Okay, this could be a problem. Yeah, I thought there weren't that many indoors anymore. Whew. So, a couple of things I need. Obviously, pretty much everything that's in the to-do list I need to get, along with some more clothing, like, you know, a reserve pair of shoes, pants, jackets, so on and so forth. All of that would be lovely, if I can get it. I know that the chance to get decent clothing from the undead like this is not exactly stellar, but, you know, we try. Something tells me, especially based on that large horde that I saw over by Spiffos down there, that there's going to be plenty of clothing on the ground before the end of the day. And so, who knows, maybe even some to choose from that's actually in decent condition. So, like I said, I'm going to need a katana, but I'm going to need to use it sparingly, because it can break, and I need it to get me out of trouble if there's particularly large hordes of enemies and things like that, then I can resort to it and, you know, kind of avoid death by virtue of samurai sword. Seriously though, it sounds funny, but I do mean it. I thought about trying to sneak past most of these undead hordes. Unfortunately, I don't think that's really going to work because of screechers. Now, I had really good luck up until now with screechers, rather than I mean, I had plenty of screechers and screamers, but none of them really screeched or screamed before I got to them. That's the big point. And so I'm going to use also this Tanto a little bit, at least for smaller groups of enemies like this, when, well, actually that's a bigger group, but like for individual enemies like this, because it's not a bad idea to have a secondary weapon, even though the knife is like a tertiary, and maybe not even that, considering I have two katanas, or sorry, two machetes and a katana, but those are all long-bladed weapons, and there comes a time, obviously this is not the most optimal thing to do. The most optimal thing to do is to focus on one type of weapon and use just that until you max out the level. But I've already pretty much done that. If you take a look at skills, my long blade is at level 9, almost 10. Spear is getting up there as well, and short blade is not doing too bad either. But the point is, there may come a time, not now, but in the future, when you either drop your main weapon, or I don't know, it breaks and you don't have another one, and there's that one extra zombie that you need to get rid of, or something along those lines. It can happen, right? And in situations like that, it's not bad to have a backup, especially like this, that's attached to the vest, that's easily accessible, and that you're not really gonna lose anytime soon. And being proficient with that backup can sometimes save your life. And that's more or less exactly what I want to do. Now that Longblade has been, you know, my Longblade skill has been almost maxed out, I can focus on Shortblade and on Spear. Spear being all fine and dandy, I have plenty of them, but also Shortblade for situations like this, and I'm not gonna lie, it gives me an opportunity to talk about something, which I think I mentioned at one point or another, but I never really told the full story. I used to, actually, I think the Tanto I still have. I used to have a Tanto's somewhere around the house, probably in the basement somewhere. But I used to have a larger sword, a replica of a Japanese sword. Now I knew the name of it. This was like 6 years ago, maybe. I knew the name of it. Now I've forgotten what they're called. But it's, you know, if you imagine them in order of size, it's the one smaller than the katana. So the backup sword to the katana. I don't remember what they're called. I think it began with S something, but it doesn't matter. So I had that, and I had a Tanto knife. Now, the Tanto, dagger, knife, whatever you want to call it, it's kind of a knife, right? I mean, here it's a knife anyway. So I had a Tanto, and that one I didn't play too much around with, but the sword I had, and it looked cool and everything. Thing is, it was ridiculously cheap and poorly made. It wasn't a real sword. It was a display piece. Speaking of, was it Shrieker? Yeah, speaking of Shriekers, there we go. Alright, that's going to attract some ferals. As long as it's not a brute, I'm okay. Okay. Look at the range at which it attracts them. Frickin' hell, man. It's literally like a grenade going off. That's what it feels like. It feels like a bloody grenade has gone off in the middle of the highway, and now someone's rung the dinner bell. And I feel like it's going to take about 30 minutes to get rid of all of these. And continue looting properly. Which is ridiculous, but... you know, hell, what can I do? Not much, I'm afraid. Anyways, so I wanted to play around with that a little bit, even though I knew, even back then, you know, I wasn't really an expert on swords and whatnot, but I really wanted to play around with it a little bit, see what it can do, and... well, I wanted to do that, back in the day it was really popular, those water bottle, like plastic water bottle cutting videos. I wanted to try that and want to see, I'll just try my hand at it, see what I would do, and it's a sword, not much of a point in just standing next to one, right? You might be, if you have it, you kind of want to use it. I think that's understandable. And so, what I did was I decided to sharpen it because it came horribly dull. Now, that's one thing. If your sword that you bought came hopelessly dull, it's probably an indication that it's not meant to be used ever. That's not to say that that's the case for all weapons. You could buy dull weapons and then they have to be sharpened afterwards and they can be of extremely high quality, but this isn't extremely high quality. No, this was like, I don't know what the price was. I got it as a gift. But, like a couple of dollars, right, probably. I don't know. I imagine. It came in a set of 3, so, yeah, it doesn't matter. But the point is, it was horrible. So much so that... well, I'll get to that. It broke, basically, but I'll get to that in a bit. I tried to do the cutting thing first, and I realized it's hopelessly dull. Like, there is absolutely no edge to it whatsoever. It's like a rod, and yeah, it's... yeah, no, this is not Whatever this is not it, right? So I decide to sharpen it, and I take the better part of some 2 weeks, maybe, sharpening it. Why so long? Well, it doesn't take that long to sharpen a sword, but it does if you don't have any of the tools, and you have no idea how to do it. And so I wanted to do this sword justice, even though it, doing it justice would probably be throwing it in the bin. But what I mean was I really wanted to do it properly. More so just to learn how to sharpen swords than because this, I wanted this particular sword to be sharp and good and whatever. It was kind of not only a test of skills, but an opportunity to learn, I would say. And I took that opportunity and I learned over the course of a week how to sharpen a sword. I even bought the different tools that you need to do it, like a whetstone, and then there was it's not sandpaper, but there's a similar sort of thing that you use to apply the finishing touches, and there's different stages of sharpening it, and you pour different types of liquids are involved when it comes to sharpening it, like a really professional sort of sharpening kind of thing. You can also run it through one of those sharpening tools that you just run through like a couple of times and then that's it. But that's not giving it a proper edge. That's just giving it, the most basic and horribly unaligned and just the most basic thing, right? But if you want to properly sharpen it, then yeah, it's a lengthy process. And so I did all of that. And I felt bloody proud, and I wanted to test how much of a good job I did. I also noticed that as I was sharpening it, I wasn't sharpening it evenly. Like, some parts of the blade were sharpened faster and better than others, and then, well, what you do is pretty obvious. You then focus on just the bits that are dull and try and even it out as much as you can, but I made some mistakes along the way, and it was a whole learning process. Like I said, it took about a week, and yeah, it was fun. And so at the end of it all, after a week of sharpening it, I was like, you know what? Time to test this thing out. Granted, I didn't expect much from it. It's a horrible thing, but I gave it a proper edge, right? I gave it a proper sword's edge. And I decided to do that whole bottle cutting test on it because, well, they're pretty gosh darn popular at the time, like I said. But it's not just about popularity, it's about the only thing I can think of to do with it, I'll be honest with you. So, alright. We have the plan, we have the means, let's do it. I put a water bottle on a log. There was this log in the backyard, I put it there and I was I'm gonna cut this water bottle now. And I do. And it's a horribly sloppy cut, like it breaks the bottle, it's horrible. Part of it, I blame the sword, part of it, I blame me. Me probably more so than the sword, because I've never done stuff like that, but, you want to give it a try. I mean, you've been handling this sword, you've been sharpening it for the better part of a week. Sure, just having fun, I guess, in the backyard, as boys do. And it's a horribly messy cut, whatever. Let's do it again. Other half of the bottle. Cut that a little bit better this time round, but I end up sort of chipping the end of the log a little bit. Now, I need you to understand, this was at the tail end of the cut, so this was a light tap on the log. Okay, maybe a little bit more than a tap, but if there was someone's hand there and I did it, it wouldn't really cause much damage. It would be a surface cut. I didn't hit the log with the sword. I feel like I need to emphasize this a lot. Because if I hit the log with the sword, I know that would not be good, either for the edge, nor for the sword itself, because it would probably break, because it's so horribly made. But it was a light, gentle tap, and the handle broke. It just disconnected from the blade, and it split. And it didn't split from the force of the hit, it was glued together. It had like a pin to hold the sword, but that pin wasn't holding anything. Now, I know traditional real samurai swords and katanas and you know, the real Japanese stuff is also held together with just one pin. The only difference is that pin is really well made and placed in such a way that it does hold the whole thing together. This was not it. And so one light tap of a log later, the thing just bursts. I mean, okay, it just it detached itself from the thing. It was really funny. I knew it was a terrible sword, like I said, and I knew it wouldn't. You couldn't do anything with it, and I understand that probably the majority of people, maybe not the majority, but a large number of people that buy samurai swords don't really buy them to learn historical martial arts, you know, HEMA. They don't really buy them to use it as a self-defense weapon or something as ridiculous as that would be. No, they just buy it so it looks cool and they put it on a stand somewhere and it's a display piece. And fair enough. I didn't expect this thing to perform much better, but I gotta be honest, I expected it to last more than one hit. And it just broke right then and there in front of me, and I just found it funny. I wasn't like upset at it or like I said, I had no expectations, so it's not like I was upset or anything or pissed off or anything. I expected the outcome, and the outcome is exactly what the expected outcome is exactly what I got. So there you go. This Humvee looks like it's really well preserved. Let's see. Ooh boy. Bit of ammo. Sten flamethrower Ventores. I'll probably get that Ventores, but anyways, that's the story of my sword that I owned, and its tragic end, shall we say? So yeah, VSS integral suppressor, VSS magazine, the condition terrible. Never mind. Mark 43 mod 1. Let's not put ourselves in unnecessary danger. Also going to update the map, but I'm going to do it once I clear out this. And in fact, I think I missed a building. I may have, and I know why. So this is the Zippo mark. I cleared that out. Let's try and remember when I mark it. I missed out on clearing this, and also I think that's a Spiffos down there that I didn't clear out either, so let's just sort of keep that in mind. Okay, don't need anything there. Okay, sorry about that, there's someone at the window. Now, I know you're used to me saying there's someone at the door, and I get it, you know, deliveries, interruptions, stuff like that. Not at the window, that sounded almost like a horror movie moment, but sorry about that. We do have some construction work going on in the yard, and I don't think you can hear any of it. I've tried really hard to isolate the room from all outside noises, but yeah, there's work happening. Okay, let's mark these two buildings off as empty, just so I don't forget to do it later. And then I want to clear out this Spiffo and whatever that is up there. It's probably going to be another restaurant, right? At least I reckon so. Yeah, that's kind of the reason why I wanted to avoid this building. I saw a massive horde in front of it, so I was thinking I want to go around, sneak my way around the the really big horde and stick more so to just looting rather than having to fight half the town for this one diner. But I guess wasn't really to be. Okay, that's interesting. I like that. You bring me a gift. Spear with Tanto knife. I'll take it. Just as long as it isn't my Tanto knife. But I was thinking about it, that would be a funny, if not a little bit annoying, but a funny thing to implement, wouldn't it? Like, toy weapons and display weapons you're not sure are actual display weapons. You use it and it breaks in one hit and it does no damage. You can imagine, right? I'm not saying do it. I think my my whole idea behind implementing tainted knives and poisoned food because it was next to some blood splatter or something is evil enough that I don't need to worry about ever suggesting anything ever again. But I'm still standing by the fact that it would kind of be really funny. Okay, spiffos. According to many conspiracy theories, both at the time of the initial outbreak and later, ground zero for the Nox infection. Now, of course, we know that's not true. We know where it originated from, but still doesn't stop the conspiracy theorists. Back to the machete. Right, come on. You two as well. I'm assuming this is going to be chock full of nothing but rotten food. So, but I don't really even want to go through and loot this. Well, there's flour and sugar, never mind. Makes it all worth it. And not quite, but... Alright, can't be bothered mopping up the last few in there. Let's run out into the highway. And put some distance between me and that place. Alright, looks like I'm going to have a minute's rest here so I can catch my breath. And remove this marker as well. So that is now crossed off the list. And we can now go to the other restaurant. Hopefully, over here we're going to find maybe a little bit more. Well, there's a Humvee, that's already more interesting, but maybe something a little bit more interesting. If not, then at the very least, we'll be done with restaurants and diners, and we'll move on to shops that are, with all due respect to these places, a little bit more useful in what I can find in them. Oh god. Ooh, loads of them here. I don't like this. I don't have control over the situation. They're coming from all sides. And I don't know how many there are. But looks as though there's a fair number of them. Okay, these were the guys in there. Now there's more. Looks as though there's a big group in the back, and then they're now sort of coming through. Yeah, yikes. Okay, no, come on. Much rather fight outside. I can get trapped in there. I sort of already see it happening. Boxes of ammo. SKS carbine. No need. HKMP9. TOS 194. Also not really necessary. I like the SKS, but 10 round capacity, slow to shoot, rare ammo, not the best option. This looked promising from a distance. Turns out it's not so great. That, on the other hand, phenomenal parking. Well done. Truly, truly well done. Well, looks as though I've won the Battle of the Chicken. More or less. There's still stragglers to be taken out. Or maybe more than stragglers. Who knows? Huh. Sucks I couldn't find any jeans or something. That would have really been a feather in my cap, as they say. Would have made me proud. Put it in the wrong spot. Okay. No, you can have the chicken. Looks like someone just rang the dinner bell, and I'm sorry to inform you that I'm not on the menu. Okay, I know the diner puns are getting out of control. They can make you clucking insane. I will stop. That's the last one. I promise. It was too good not to use it, but I swear to you that's the last one. 308 bucks. Flamethrower. Propane canister. The flamethrower uses propane. I have several propane canisters. That would be really fun to use. I've never used one. I could set the world on fire. But I gotta be really careful with it. But I can set something on fire with that thing, and it would be great. I just have to be really careful. I know fire spreads. It's sort of in its nature. I don't know how far it'll spread and how quickly, but I don't want to burn down my own base. And so I think a good way to use it would be like an area very much far away from home and kind of isolated. So even if the fire spreads, it just burns down that area and not anything I care about too much. Would be great, wouldn't it? I can already see it happening. Glorious fire engulfing something, like a forest or, I don't know, a part of town I particularly don't like. Man, that would be good, provided the flamethrower works properly. Grenade launchers are a little bit buggy, and they can kill you sometimes. They can just explode right in your feet. Even though they should have a minimum arming distance, sometimes it doesn't really work as intended. But a flamethrower, oof, I don't know. Fire is extremely dangerous. Injuries sustained from fire are also nightmarishly difficult to treat. So I want to be careful with it, but I'm also excited, and I have that pyromaniacal grin right now that makes me think, you know, try it. It's worth it. It's bound to be worth it. It's gonna be funny. What the fuck? Where did they all come from, and how do they know I was here? Get the sword out. It's like they were all hanging out in the back over here, and they knew exactly where I was. Jesus. Slightly worse weaponry, and that's it, like... dead right there. Right. That would be another building cleared out. Turns out I was wrong, there's a third restaurant down the road as well. Let's make our way towards it. Okay, there's not that many up ahead. There's some in the forest, some over there. There's a lot, but it's not unmanageably so. I think after all the POC restaurant, I have no idea what that is. I think after some previous encounters where there were literally hundreds upon hundreds of undead chasing after me down roads much like this one, smaller groups like this look trivial almost. But there's another reason why I'm using the knife that I didn't really talk about that much, and I think it's very important. Yeah, sure, having a backup weapon, learning another weapon's skill while, you know, after you've mastered your primary one because it's useful, etc., etc., you're going to have to use different melee weapons, because they keep breaking, etc., etc., all those things stand. That's all correct. But there's also another one. It's visually more interesting to watch. Fair enough, pretty obvious why I'm doing it then. But it's also mentally a little bit more challenging. Because you fight with a katana, extreme range, extreme damage, everything's perfect. You fight with a machete, slightly less damage, a lot less range, but a similar kind of experience of fighting. You then fight with a knife, and it's a different dynamic altogether. Your attacks are very quick, but at the same time... Oh, interesting. Sterilized bandage. Beer. Gunpowder. Okay, stalker trousers, stalker cloak, stalker boots, jacket, gloves. I'll wear the gloves, they're better than the leather gloves I have. But unfortunately nothing else. Everything else is in a pretty poor condition. Where was I? Long denim shorts. No more shorts. Okay. It keeps you focused, it keeps you sharp, because it's a completely different style of combat, and so you need to focus on what you're doing, and you don't really go on autopilot and relax, and I feel like so long as you're fully focused, it's really difficult to die in combat. You're faster than the zombies, you're stronger most of the time, at least against most of them here. You're definitely smarter, and it's really difficult to die to individual zombies like this, but the moment you feel relaxed, you feel comfortable, you tend to do stupid things. And using the same weapon over and over and over again gives you that sensation of, oh, I've done this a billion times, I can do it a billion times again. Having to switch between weapons like this keeps you really focused, and so now I saw that feral coming, and I'm focused, and I can kill it even with a knife, because I'm there, I'm really alert, and I'm paying attention to what's going on. Comedic timing would be me dying right now, of course, but I really don't think I will, because I'm not bragging, I'm just reporting on my mental activity, kind of, right? Roofing axe. Cool. That's all there is, right? You can still end up in bad situations. You can still end up making bad decisions, like going indoors when there's a horde outside, and they cut off all your escape routes, and well, now you're screwed. Obviously, right? That can happen. However, it can happen a heck of a lot less often if you. Oh, hello, beautiful. That is an AKM. And the reason I like it so much is the reason I like it so much is because it's the closest thing to what I have in real life, and it's also chambered in 7.62 x 39. A rare caliber, of which I don't have a lot of bullets of. However, a very, very, very potent caliber for what we need. And it also has probably the most iconic weapon look of any gun ever, maybe. In fact, yeah, definitely, right? I mean, it's on the flag of a country, for crying out loud. Yeah. Definitely the most iconic silhouette of a gun ever. There's other ones that you recognize immediately. I would argue the Spas 12, the Steyr AUG, the FAMAS, even the UMP, or the MP5, MP9. M4 is also M16, although people tend to confuse all the different variants, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, people do that the same with AKs as well. But yeah, I think it's definitely the most recognizable worldwide as big, mean military weapon. At least I get the feeling that's the attitude people have towards it, and in actual fact, it's no more of a gun than an M4A1, or no less of a gun than an AR-15, or they're all the same. They fire similar calibers. In the grand scheme of things, right? Obviously, there's a huge degree of difference between 5.56 and 7.62. That's not what I mean, but in the grand scheme of things, it's still a rifle caliber, right? It's not like one is a spaceship and the other one is, I don't know, a car or something. No, they're both different vehicles. If you have to compare them to cars, they're like, one's a Chevy, the other one's a Toyota Helix or something. I don't know which one is which out of the two, but I get the feeling that the AK would be the Toyota in pretty much most comparisons. I think that just fits, and not just because they're used in pair often. But yeah, it's a Toyota Helix of weapons, isn't it? And not just because it just fits with the, you know, whole desert terrorist freedom fighter aesthetic, but also in terms of functionality. I mean, there's even a saying around here, if you don't want to meet a mechanic ever in your life, buy a Toyota. How true is that? Obviously it's not. You gotta maintain every car you buy, but it's a nice sentiment. Not a lot of useful things in the building itself, like the restaurant, but a lot of undead there with... For example, that one has a shotgun over there, I think has some kind of knife or sword or something. So I want to get those, but yeah. I figure I'm going to run up here for a second and just look down the road. Okay, there's a lot more fighting to do, but I think one more... Yeah, 1, 2, 3, we're definitely very close. We're definitely very close. I think one more session of highway cleanup duty, and we're going to be in a position to clear out most of these stores. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe down below if you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned with the rest of the series. I need to go do some stuff. I'm going to be really busy for the next 2 days, I think, but I will see you afterwards when I come back. Bit of an awkward position to leave off, but you know, we do have some breathing room and some space around here, so it's going to be fine. I will see you all next time. Like, subscribe down below. You want to help out the channel, obviously. It helps a ton. If you're feeling extra generous, there are options for donations down in the description below too, but by no means feel compelled to do anything. I will see you in the next episode for when we finally, / hopefully, get to that industrial bit and maybe find some useful tools for the base and for our future vehicles, which I think is what I'm going to be focusing on next. In fact, I'm pretty sure, because, yeah, just need to remove this. Found this, have plenty of this. I just need the car battery recharger and level up some skills, and that's it. As before, I do encourage you to offer any suggestions of what you want to see. If you have any particular ideas, you want to see something in the game that you think would be cool, or have some ideas for testing stuff out, please let me know, because I have, like I said, plans for the future, but not that many, and I can definitely squeeze in some extra suggestions. I'll see you all next time, like I already said a couple of times in the outro. Have fun, take care, and bye-bye.